no borders, no ownership, no hierarchy. Would a world like that liberate us or erase us?
It's exactly where humanity's going. We're going to show you what it's going to look like, but we're going to control it.
I got no soul spark. It is just draining the life out of you.
It's a calamity for consciousness.
Real talk, conscious communication, and soul truths. A DM with the universe starts now.
Welcome to A DM with the Universe. I'm Laura.
And I'm Hayley.
And in today's podcast episode, we're actually going to be looking at the truth behind the New World Order. Now, this stemmed from a conversation that Hayley and I have had about that phrase that has been echoed throughout the awakened spiritual community for a number of years now. That is, you'll own nothing and be happy. So we've heard it many, many times, and we know that's a tagline from the World Economic Forum that has become shorthand for what many people know as the New World Order. And that is a proposed future where ownership is obsolete, where artificial intelligence governs systems, where universal basic income provides meaningful work, and where the sovereignty of the individual is dissolved into a global hive mind. So that's the meaning behind the New World Order. So on the surface, it really does sound like a dystopian fiction. But when I sat with this and I was able to really peel back the language, you could almost find the version a little bit seductive, because what it's actually inferring is there's no war, no hunger, no poverty, and it's a world that has managed peace.
Yeah.
So we've been sitting with this. And first of all, I'd like to declare that we are not here to support this vision at all. We believe that it undermines the raw divine mess of being human. We don't believe that we can engineer paradise from the top down, or that peace comes through a system of control. We're thinking we're actually watching a late stage capitalism tear holes in the planet. And now with NATO greenlighting Ukraine to strike inside of Russian territory, I find myself staring at that same ancient truth. Why don't we know how to stop fighting?
Why can't we play nice?
Why can't we just play nice? So we fight for land. We fight for God, we fight for resources, for power, we fight for illusion. We have to wonder what would actually need to dissolve for war to become obsolete in our world, in our existence. So a world where there's no borders, no ownership, no hierarchy. Would a world like that liberate us? Or could it potentially erase us? So this episode is not a political analysis at all. It is not a conspiracy rant. It's a spiritual revelation, a soul-led curiosity about what the New World Order is really pointing us towards, not necessarily on paper, but in consciousness. Because maybe the thing that we're resisting so hard isn't just the system, maybe it's a mirror. So, Hayley, I know that, like me, this hasn't absorbed my entire being.
Yeah.
I know that you've caught bits and pieces of this topic here and there without really diving deep into it. So I'm actually really curious to throw back to you. What stirs for you as we sit on the sidelines and witness all of this unfolding?
Yeah, I think I've sort of gone through waves, I would say, of where I'm like, I'm really against the whole concept of the New World Order and losing our individuality in that. And then I can flip into moments of like, is it not a solution to the issue that we find ourselves in? Would it not fix what we see around us? And I wonder, I always wonder for myself, if I hadn't, I guess been either opened or influenced, it depends on which way that falls, by alternative media, by others' opinions, by the opinions of friends that I have that are more questioning about the world that we live in, would I find the negativity, I guess, in that concept, or the concern? So, yeah, I'm definitely not for what has been painted for me as far as the dystopian side of that New World Order. Absolutely not for that. But I question whether I've been led astray.
Yeah.
Have things been overemphasized in the negative?
Yeah, I agree. And I think we both agree that something needs to change. This war, constantly over and over again, we know that it's related to money, power, greed. It's not necessarily about the soldiers on the ground or the children and the men and women that are getting killed. They're just a byproduct of this money grab.
To what end?
To what end? Yes, exactly. So, you know, this or something better, but you know, not this, so to speak, not the New World Order, but surely there's got to be something better. But New World Order is what has been put on the table. It's kind of that 2030 timeline, I believe.
Yeah.
And I know that we could stay in our head and bounce back and forth and rehash a lot, but I'd actually really love to connect in with the universe and get that universal consciousness come through to enlighten us a little bit about what's actually going on here. What are we not seeing? What's the purpose?
Yeah.
All of that. So if you're ready.
Yeah, let's go. I'm excited to see what comes through, because I'm 90% of the way on one tangent and I have a 10% doubt, let's say.
Yeah, I think that's healthy to also not be so adamant about something, because I don't think either any potential is right or wrong. We see that in politics all the time.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so the first question that I've got is, we'll just jump straight into it.
Go.
What is the deeper purpose of the New World Order?
There is a familiar story in the human evolution where you appeal to your nature for exploration and conquer, and you will find this is the foundational or fundamental urge for the New World Order that you witness in your political arena. You have hit a pivotal point in your human ascension and connection where there is a demand or desire to be interconnected as a one consciousness, and there is a control mechanism to also embrace that collective urge. Without the distraction of power, you would naturally form what you call New World Order. You would collectively collaborate and work across your nation world in a total expression of human development and human awakening consciousness. This would be your ultimate expression. However, the layers and the vices that you have welcomed onto your planet and into your individual states of mind, not just the collective state of mind, are what drives forth the power play that is eminent on your planet. Consciousness is devouring its ability to self-seed in the construct that is being put forward to your collective.
So there's a couple of things that I do want to come back to. My take out of that is inherently the foundation of this New World Order truly is about collaboration as a way for humans to express that whole awakeness. What I would probably want to ask the universe for a little bit more clarity is, it said that we've welcomed vices onto the planet, resulting in the power play. So if we've welcomed them onto the planet, surely then we should be able to unwelcome them, to unfriend them, send them back.
I'm actually sort of getting that we are doing that right now.
Yeah.
So I was getting shown a collapsing, dismantling. It's not in the sense of sending anything back. It's deconstructing. Deconstructing the creation that we've created in these vices, in this desire for power. And that is what we're seeing with, I won't say the wars, that doesn't feel entirely like that, but more from the political side of things, financial side of things at the moment. So structural collapse is part of that dismantling. The war, I'm getting this strong feeling, is actually trying to play against that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a counterbalance to, okay, I don't want to say good and bad, but it's just the easiest way to describe it right now. You know, the light is trying to break down these these structures that aren't working for humanity, and that will lead us into feels like a prison type planet. That's what or environment, a less creative, a less expansive situation. Whereas to compensate for that, the wars are a constant antithesis. What's the word? Like a constant play against.
Yeah.
So the wars are going to keep trying to create destruction. And attention, distraction.
Yeah, distraction. Yeah.
Distraction.
Yeah, and of course, when you're seeing all of that negativity play out in mainstream media, you can't help but to then align energetically to that. So our whole energetic system gets pulled down into lack, pain, struggle, fear.
Yeah, but also disempowerment, which was one of the big things that was coming up as you were speaking. War and again, that fear of death and that fear of safety is going to get you to base level. Help me. That is the tool that can be used to drive people toward agreeing with things that they otherwise wouldn't, or not seeing the full picture.
Yeah, be our saviour. Absolutely.
And there's nothing more evocative than pictures of children starving in Gaza right now and the numbers of people that are being killed.
So I just want to loop back to a sentence that the universe shared where consciousness is devouring its ability to self-see, blah, blah, blah. Are you able to unpack that a little bit more for us?
Yeah. When I first got it, I got the full meaning of it, so I'll try and drop back into that. But this New World Order that's being presented, that structure prevents the self-seeding of more creation. So it's actually trying to imprison itself. That's what it felt like. It was so restrictive, and the self-seeding was very much about individual sparks of souls having creative sovereignty.
Yeah.
But I'll see if there's more that I can get. It's trying to create inertia to establish how much humanity will fight. It's such a game. We keep saying this, and I just can't believe it, but it's such a game. Like, it really is. It's not purely about ascension. It's just what is, how it experiences itself. The package of the New World Order right now is a prison. That's all I keep getting.
You have just answered my third question that I've got, 100%. So talking to that point about prison, this is kind of the second part of the question that I've got. But my understanding with the New World Order is that it's going to collapse ownership and borders and free us from war. And then my question was, is that what we're wanting, or is that another kind of prison? And the universe preempted all of that, and it's basically it's
which
another
often happens. Okay, first of all, I'll go in and see if there's information about why is that a prison. What does that mean?
Because theoretically it shouldn't feel like a prison if we've got, we don't have to worry about finances and ownership and stretching ourselves and borders and culture and language.
Yeah, reading it for face value, it's not a prison at all.
No.
It's a holiday.
So what happens?
Why is it a prison? Okay, so first word I get is there's regiment, confounding regiment. I literally seeing lemmings, like that game. Lemmings. Yeah, and everyone's just walking around in a square box, following the leader.
Yeah, no autonomy.
Again, that real feeling of like zombified. It's grey. There's no colour. There's levels in this prison. There's something relevant to that. It's almost like levels based on age. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just, it's like you live in this, at this age you do this, at this age you do this, at this age you do this. Very monotonous, very rotational. There's nothing to aspire to or inspire.
Yeah, makes sense. You don't work your way up in the world. You don't work into management and then ownership and
it's not that as much as it's conformity and uniformity. There's no individual expression. There's no soulful
no soul
spark.
Joy.
Yeah,
I got no soul spark. It is just draining the life out of you.
Yeah, it's existence for no reason. It's a calamity for consciousness. That's what I'm just getting. There's nothing to celebrate within it because it becomes so boring to the soul. It's almost like consciousness just goes, oh, let's just shut that reality down because it's not giving me what I need anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's how it feels.
Oh. So why has it emerged now? The New World Order, this push, why now?
Okay. Because Earth, Gaia, is speaking. So what I'm seeing is our planet rippling out radar sound waves, and it's evolved or alerting the structures around it, other planets, consciousness, universes of almost like its maturity. I'm seeing it like it's moved from an infant that couldn't speak and it's just found its voice.
Yeah.
So it's at that transition point in its growth. It can't be hidden. That can't be hidden anymore. So the flip side of that is it has to be totally controlled then. You can't just control a little bit of the population. That's not going to make a difference. So to shut down the power of Earth or its own ascension, not only does the planet have to be destroyed, the people have to be contained. Everything has to be contained.
So we've been doing these podcasts long enough, Hayley, for me to know that my immediate next question shouldn't be, how can we stop this? Because I know well enough that sometimes things just need to roll out. They need to happen for the greater good. So I won't ask that question. But what I will ask is, how do we walk the path of being that awakened community, awakened consciousness, without handing our sovereignty over to be saved?
Okay, so I'm getting shown a seesaw, and there's a group of people on one end and a group of people on the other end, and I'm literally just watching people run back and forth. So there's your tried and trues at each end, which I guess there isn't any extreme, and there's like people in panic running. There's a lot of middle ground or middle part of the population that they're unaware of what's going on around them, but they've got some awareness because there's fear. Yeah. So there's I'll run this way for a bit, and then I might have an experience that makes me start questioning, and then I run that way. And that's where we're at right now. So it's like this tipping point part. We get told often that whatever we do in the world can have massive ripple effects. And that's really what I'm being shown. What we end up seeing in the collective absolutely starts at an individual level. It can't jump the other way. It can't be like top fed down. It's actually starting bottom up. And even though you would go, yes, okay, the WEF got this plan and they're going to try and drive it down, their success arrives when the individuals aren't lit up or aren't in control of their own self. It's not that they actually have the control. It's just we allow them to have the control. Yeah. So that same rings true the other way. There's nothing we can do collectively until the individual changes. But that change of that individual has such an impact on others.
So I guess then what needs to happen for there to be that change at the individual level?
I'm getting the words there has to be a desire to dream. So it's reigniting passion within individual people, which again, if you look at how we live, that's really been stripped from us already in many ways, because we live such fast-paced lives. We're on the go constantly. We don't really stop and drop into the moments of our true joy. We're just functioning. We're just getting through life. So that seed of joy or that seed of passion has to really be like the key point to reignite, because otherwise there's no impetus to change.
Yeah, it just feels like that mundane life, I think truly from COVID days, and some would argue many decades before that too. Yes, but COVID was a really big spotlight on, stay inside, disconnect from people, don't go out and exercise, and it really was a joy thief.
Yeah.
And I would question whether many people have stepped back into joy since then, whether they've really remembered what it is. So there is a bit of a fear that our mundane existence will just continue to roll on and roll on and roll on, and remembering that it takes one generation to change a mindset. That is a potential. Well, my parents lived like this, so I'll live like this, and all of a sudden everyone forgets what joy and connection is all about.
Yeah, we're at that point now, aren't we? You don't capture that generation coming through now, then you're sort of going to miss the boat.
And that generation is also the generation that grew up with people wearing a mask, so truly not knowing facial expressions. They've also been given an iPad or a phone as a source of connection or fun or joy. That's artificial, isn't it? It's engineered joy. This goes a lot deeper than just the New World Order, doesn't it? It's kind of like it's been a long time coming for humanity. And I always ask this question, what's our role in all of this? How can we help individually, humanity, collectively?
Okay, a way to help ourselves for those that already feel awakened or like they're on that side of the scale and they're not needing to run back and forth.
Yeah.
A way to help stabilize that is actually to really connect in and bed into the consciousness of Gaia, Earth, Mother Earth, because that helps hold that structure. So it's actually working in combination with the planetary body that we exist on. It's aligning our frequencies.
Yeah.
It's holding
really
that.
Grounding and anchoring in.
Really good. Yeah, grounding it in, because I'm almost seeing it's like extra weight to the seesaw.
Yeah. Like these little roots are kind of holding it on our behalf as well.
Yeah. So like pull that, connect that right in, because it doesn't create destabilization or distortion. So for individually, if we're wanting to help, it doesn't help them individually in that sense, but it helps create a frequency, I guess, that's more stable for them to maybe open into. There's something about like listening to nature as well as part of that. It's not just a visualization connection. It's also about listening. It's opening up abilities for us. So listen to nature, not just bird song and actual things that we can hear, but listen to the trees and listen to the animals beyond what the sounds you hear. Like there's a connection there that really, just like my whole heart's just, I don't know, it just really helps balance out the other right now. And then I just saw all the structures dropping. It actually helps dismantle those structures. It's the war antidote.
Yep. Could that be more connecting with the ether? Is that what that feels like?
It's connecting with frequency. So yes, ether as well. It's connecting with oneness. It's interconnectedness. So it's acknowledgement that not only are we connected as humans, we are connected as nature, we are connected as earth. We are etherically connected. So it's bringing us into that. But it is that antidote to war. So it's like structures are collapsing because it doesn't fit with the new energy frequency of Earth. So the opposite to that is let's hold war and fear to try and bring that down. Okay, so what's our next retaliation? Let's connect deeper into Earth. Let's hold that frequency, because ultimately we're fighting an energetic war.
Yep. Beautiful.
Yep.
So the universe's advice for all of us that are desperately trying to oppose this imprisonment, really, like it just strips away any shred of sovereignty and identity, is to really connect into that oneness.
Yeah, and this is a question I'd like to ask as part of that, is like we go, okay, we'll connect into the oneness, but isn't that being one? Isn't that one world? Isn't that one people? Isn't that everything that the New World Order is proposing? So why is that different? So
the frequency, the intention behind it, but yes.
So let's just drop into that and see if there's a bit more to come through on that. In a higher dimensional state of humanity, we do exist as one race, as one world, as one nation, and what's happening now is a fabrication of time. So there's an overlay here. It's like it's a copycat. It wants to be what it knows we can be, but it's happening through the wrong lens, through the wrong frequency. So it can't ever be what it's intended to be. It will never be that.
Yeah. Yes. So could it actually be a test of consciousness, a final invitation, if you like, for us to remember our true sovereignty, not by it being given or taken, but through being reclaimed?
Well, I think this is the mirror that you were talking about, absolutely. In a more awakened conversations or alternative media, there's always a lot of conversation that they, and I say they as in whether that be the Illuminati or the negative
powers
side,
that were,
the powers that be, they always show their cards. They always have to tell you what's going on. And this is actually what that feels like. This is actually what humanity is going towards. It is going towards a one world, one new world. It's exactly where humanity is going. So we're going to show you it, and we're going to show you what it's going to look like, but we're going to control it.
Then construct and control. Absolutely. Yeah. Instead of letting Gaia construct it in harmony with her matured frequency.
Yeah. And it's like often it's said we get shown things through movies or we're always pre-warned about what bad things are going to happen to us. In this case, it's slightly different. It's like we're actually being pre-warned about what the good thing is that's going to happen to us.
Yeah.
But it's sugar-coated. It's wrapped up in pretty bows over here. So you don't look over there. Don't go the right way. Come here because you get everything you ever wanted, all your dreams.
So it truly is that mirror.
Yeah, literal.
Yep. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So I'm really glad that we went there because it feels just so important that we really connect in deeply with Gaia and stand by her. Like we're team Gaia, immersing ourselves in her. And I love how you explained it, that really mature frequency. Beautiful that we're here to experience that shift in, from Mother Earth to Gaia. And that's a whole nother podcast episode. But taking those really deliberate steps to resonate.
Yeah. Embrace that. I feel like I want to talk about something about the seductiveness of it and how that's going to entrap people's minds. So I'm just going to go there for a second, because if we're leaving this all to the individual to really cement in for themselves,
they need that information to be forearmed.
Yeah, exactly. And this is part of the stuff that sometimes I don't understand entirely, so it's very hard to explain. But it's like that split world. I just got splitting of the atom. We will go into a podcast soon about realities and dimensions and timelines, but very much that seesaw, whoever ends up on each end, the split of realities, the split of the atom, things just go in different pathways. So ultimately, it's the individual's choice as to whether they want to wake up and be part of Team Gaia, let's say.
Yeah, and that aligns with a lot of stuff that we've already been told and exposed to. And
I want to ask the question about slightly conspiracy-led side of things, but, who is actually behind this? Obviously the WEF on the surface, but who came up with this grand plan? Why? I understand it's the mirror and consciousness is in ultimate control of the creation, but is there an awareness from the people in the WEF? Like, I just want to know a little bit more about that. Okay, it definitely coincides with Gaia's ascension and change in frequency and opening, but it absolutely coincides with the collapse of time as we know it. Just absolutely. So the choice point had to be given. That utopian choice point had to be given at this point in time in our creation, for you as a soul to experience the destiny of shift of consciousness, of ascension, whatever you want to call it, versus not.
Yeah. So would we be so brazen to say that that's going to unfold in the next 5 years?
Wow, that timeline continues to shift, and it was 2050 at one point, and it has come back to 2030. So as observers, that's something really interesting that we should keep an eye on, to actually watch that with a lot more discerning eye. Watch what's coming out of the WEF as a direct mirror for what's happening on the other side.
Pretty exciting that
that's pretty cool.
Has said, we've sped that up. We've just lopped 20 years off because of how fast we're able to evolve and ascend and break down that linear time structure. And the WEF feel like they're like on defense. They certainly don't feel like they're on the front foot and they're leading this. They're kind of on that defense, aren't they?
Yeah. And then you sort of look at where that really became prominent in the collective consciousness around COVID, and out the back of that And
Yep.
that's when you saw the timeline getting closer, like dropping and getting closer. There's a lot of talk about, it's total control. They're trying to hurry it up, shut everyone down. But is it actually a true reflection of the increase in the awakening?
Yeah.
And if you look at it that way, that's a powerful thing.
It is. And it also illuminated the total control and probably for a lot of people helped push everyone to Team Gaia, because it's like, no, we've just had a taste of that and we don't want that, particularly for Victoria here in Australia. Come on over, guys.
The most lockdown city in the world.
It illuminated that prison.
Yeah.
The New World Order is offering, wrapped up in a pink little bow tie.
Yep. Very interesting. Nice.
There is absolutely no second guessing now for me. I'm 100% against this New World Order, and I really, like I said, I'm very grateful to the universe for bringing through exactly like what we need to do, the resonance we need to hold, and just anchoring in.
And for me, what I learned from that is that it's an individual destination.
Yeah.
Even though there's a collective outcome, it's so individual.
Yeah.
So
how motivating is that? Like, we make the change. Us as an individual, Laura and Hayley, like that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. That you're not being driven. You don't have to collectively weigh in.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that can be exhausting. Wow. Okay. Is there anything else? Any other questions you have personally?
I still feel like I want to say so much more on this. I guess I'm just thinking for myself, that's all good to say, okay, we're going to be a reflection of that New World Order in the highest frequency outcome. So what does that actually mean? What does that look like? Where does that take us? Do we go there now, or do we go there on another episode? Because obviously that's about ascension. But what am I expecting? Why am I rooting into Gaia?
I think that's a part 2. There's quite a few questions here because, so yes, that, but what's coming through for me is we call in our experience and our own reality. So as a collective, my question would be, what pattern? Is it a karmic pattern? Is it an energetic pattern? Is it an overlay? What is there that keeps us as humanity repeating these systems of control, needing to be controlled when we know that it no longer serves us? So we keep giving our power away. Why? What's there?
Okay, let's go there. I don't know why. I don't understand this yet, but I'm just going to say I keep getting the words locked in target. I don't know. I don't know on that one. I was getting really tight chest by the end of it. I was seeing like a baddie in a comic strip. And I had this feeling that it was like this, almost like this, getting like criminal history. So it is that karmic or that energetic that runs through. Locked in target to me is war.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And when I look at that dark face, not evil as in ghostly evil or an entity looking evil, like human dark, like undercover.
So I've got controlled op just dropped in hard then.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you do when you've got a target on your back? You conform.
Yeah.
You're a puppet.
But why are we locked in target?
This could go back to the Anunnaki days.
I don't know if this is right, but then I was just also getting, we keep having these ascension moments, evolutionary moments in humanity to keep splitting, to keep creating. So it is like an ancient patterning. But when you said the Anunnaki, it was like, okay, so you run through that stream of control. So there's always this underlying, and then you break free or you don't. And then that splits another playground to play in. And then it goes through again and another split. Yeah. So it was something like that where it is like a controlled op. It's so that consciousness never loses its ability to continue to create. Yeah.
Cutting, like splitting the dead wood, basically. It really feels like it's right. You're stagnant. You've evolved as far as you can.
Yeah.
And that's that dimension that is then encapsulated and you stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might leave that and unpack that.
And then I was like, are we the locked in target? As in, like right now, we were about to step into an area we're not allowed to speak about. So were then we the locked on target?
And?
I don't know. Then you said Anunnaki, and then I started going off on that tangent with you.
Yeah, Anunnaki dropped in hard because it's the original creation of control. Like they were controlling us, we were slaves, and then the two brothers or whatever, one saved us because they felt sorry for us and blah, blah, blah. And it's just been this ultimate control. So it's it feels like it could be humanity's safe space in that frequency.
Of control.
Yep. And so when you're not whole from a soul point of view, you're fragmented, then that would feel like security to you.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to that original creation. Okay, so we've covered the deeper purpose of the New World Order, how it emerged, it feeling like a prison or imprisonment. We've recognised that no, it's not something that, even though it can be dressed up and look quite seductive because it's got no borders, no war, it is actually a mirror of what Gaia is growing. Like I would say we've got some growing pains at the minute, and that's completely okay. But it's a great opportunity for humanity to anchor in to Gaia. I can't think of anything else that I'd like to ask the universe at this point in time on this topic. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I did want to just quickly check in to see anything, and I instantly got a picture of a birthday cake. So I'm going to just put it out there as two things. One, something's going to happen around the time of my birthday, so November. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. Or two, it's about Gaia's birthday. It's just about celebrating her growth and her aging, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That maturity.
I'll let that float out there.
Coming into her wisdom. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks so much today for everyone who's joined us or is listening to this in the weeks ahead. We may touch back in on this topic, I think, at a later date and just go a little bit deeper into what does the New World Order with Gaia and in a higher dimensional frequency actually look like, and what can we look forward to expecting out of that.
Make sure that you're following us, liking, subscribing. If you've got any questions, drop them anywhere where you listen, social media. We're more than happy to answer the questions. Or if you've got a topic that you'd like us to do a deep dive with the universe, reach out and we'd love to chase that up.
Yeah, wonderful. Until next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.